I seem to have difficulty releasing my negative connotations with money. The opportunities are there. The money is around, but I refuse to accept.
We are, today especially, but we always do it, we are attempting to help you take money out of the equation by pronouncing this a vibrational game. You see, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So when your first introduction to the idea of money was that there isn't enough of it, and that's true of so many people, no matter how much you seem to have, you are often believing that it isn't quite as much as you would like there to be. And so most people, not all, but most people, especially in your Western culture, have a belief of not enough money. So then we say to you that it isn't money that takes you to all that the universe has lined up for you. In other words, let's play this game for just a moment. We're just going to throw some questions out to you, just to sort of shake loose this feeling of attachment to money. You will like how it feels as it unfolds. If someone gave you a choice, someone that you trusted and believed in, if someone offered you $1 million, or this could be a new television program. If someone offered you $1 million or assured happiness, what would you take?
I mean, the $1 million isn't going to make me happy, but I don't understand assured happiness. I really don't. I want to be happy, but what?
We're beginning to understand your struggle here, because the money is tangible and real to you, and the things that we have been offering to you are vibrational. They are intangible. They're about your projection of thought. Everything that comes to you like money comes on the heels of vibrational alignment. So we were just trying to get you to lean in the direction of wanting the vibration rather than the action, because when you choose the vibration first, the action has to follow. And then we're going to follow up with our big crescendo by saying to you, now that you have opted for all of those things that you can control through the power of your mind, now all the money in the world that you would ever want will have to flow on that same string. But you chose door number 2 and got a refrigerator.
I think we've gone off on a tangent.
You're the bubble blower.
I am the bubble blower. And I need to blow more bubbles. But I'm trying to take money out of the equation, and I can do that. I can make the money go away. But it seems to that's easy. But it's
that is not what we mean by taking money out of the equation.
This is, I think, the third or fourth question today about money, and it keeps coming back into the equation.
Oh, well, we would say, all right, let's put new words. Let the money coming in be a measurement of your expectation for the money coming in. Because that's what it always is. More money won't come in than you expect. It can't. More than you expect can't come. And you can change your expectation. And you must change your expectation if you want more money to come in.
Okay, but the original negative connotation that I have about money.
Well, let's talk about that. Give us some statements about money, and let's find out how negative they are.
I've often felt that money causes a lot of problems. People get into fights over money. Families get divided over money. So-and-so got the money and so-and-so didn't. And
all right, so now we want to ask you the question. Was the fight about having too much money or about not having enough money?
It's usually about not having enough money.
Thank you for that. If you'd gone the other way, we were going to be done with you.
Okay.
Just kidding. So it's about shortage of money that all of that is about. In other words, the reason that they're fighting over it is because they do not believe in the enoughness of it. They haven't figured out how to get it to flow into their experience. And so money is a bad thing because people fight over it. And then you stop and say, wait a minute, they're not fighting over the abundance of money. They're fighting because they feel a shortage of money. And so it's not the money that is wrong. It's the shortage consciousness that is messing them up. It's their belief in not enough money that's keeping their lives from being happy, not the money itself. And so I don't need to worry about having too much money and ruining my life. It's the shortage consciousness that I'm wanting to release. Doesn't that turn you downstream? Doesn't that feel better? Doesn't that feel better?
I'm usually the one who has too much money. I'm usually not the one complaining. But I play that down a bit because people become jealous. And I actually don't really have that much money. But if I have more than so-and-so, then I feel judged because I have more money. And then when more money comes in, I reject it. Because it has that negative connotation.
That may be true, but we think you're overthinking all of this. We think you've started with a flawed premise, and then you're trying to shore up your flawed premise with all of this rationale, and it's got you scrambled in a way that you can't get turned around.
Likely.
So what we're wanting to do is to help you to get at the root of your flawed premise so that you can let go all of this erroneous padding that you're doing to try to make your flawed premise hold water. And so here's the flawed premise, and it's not just with you, it's with most. The flawed premise is that money comes to me because of what I do, when really money and everything else comes to you because of what you think, because of how you feel. You never say, I have been so well for so long that I think I will be sick for the next 10 years to give sick people a chance to be well. And you say, I would never do that because I don't think that my being well is depriving any of them of being sick. And we say, and your having money is not depriving any of them of having money. But then you say, Abraham, I can feel what's happening here. I care more about what they think about me than I care about how I feel. If somebody is bothered because you are prospering in some way, you just have to say to them, everyone can have whatever they want, and I'm nowhere near the prosperity level that I am on my way to, because the sky's the limit, and I'm not there, and you too can have all that you are wanting. Whether they can hear you or not has to do with where they are relative to the subject. There are two things that are vibrational problems for humans that stand out above all others. One is money, because it interweaves with so much of your life experience, and the other is your physical body, because you take it nearly everywhere you go. So if there is a lack or a shortage that has to do with either one of those subjects, there is a tendency that all day, every day, law of attraction is just bringing you more evidence that compounds that belief. So you believe it, law of attraction gives you more of it, you see more of it, you believe it more. Now you believe it more, law of attraction gives you more of it, and now you see it, so you believe it more. So what happens is you move through life experience, as you have described yourself, of coming to an attitude or a belief about something that you know isn't serving you, but you just can't shake it. And we say the reason that you're not shaking it is because you're not yet following the guidance, and you're caring more about what they're thinking than you are about how you're feeling. We know who you are. We know who you were before you were born. We know what life has caused you to amass. We know how you feel about money. We can feel the vibrational abundance that you have become. And when you don't let yourself get up to speed with that, you don't feel so good. And you can use every excuse in the world by saying, well, I feel this way because that one's jealous of me. Or I feel this way because I'm trying to hold myself back so that I can get along better in the world. And we say, not any of that holds water for us. Every bit of that discomfort that you feel around the subject of money is that you have amassed a fortune that for some screwy reason you are holding yourself apart from. There's not enough action in the world for you to close that gap. The only thing that is going to bring more money into your experience and the feeling of well-being that is what you're really looking for is for you to find thoughts about money that resonate in the same way that your inner being feels about money. So these are the things that your inner being knows about money. We said, let's take money out of the equation. That didn't work out so well for you. So we're going to put money fully in the equation for you. And we are going to tell you what your inner being knows about money. And when you work to know this in the way that your inner being knows it, money beyond description is going to come pouring into all of your experiences, any of you who do it. So here's what your inner being knows about money. Money will expand proportionate to the ideas that you have about that which you want to utilize it on. So the more you are out mixing it up in the world, and the more you are looking around for things that you would like to exchange money for, the more money will begin to flow into your experience. That is a powerful understanding. Money is unlimited because energy is unlimited, and money is only a byproduct of energy. Now, just to help you understand that a little further, let's talk about your economy. It wasn't that many hundreds of years ago that you were trading beads with the Indians. In other words, there was hardly anything economic that was going on. And you have not hooked up a pipeline to another planet somewhere where the economy is being infused into your planet. In other words, the economy is nothing more than an expansion of the human desires. Don't you find it interesting? Jerry and Esther will drive around from city to city, and they'll be out in the middle of nowhere. They'll drive and drive and drive across fields and fields and fields and fields and fields and fields, miles and miles and miles of nothing but miles and miles and miles. And then they will come into a community where everyone's clustered together, and they're all earning their living by selling things to each other. In other words, they're trading services, they're trading products, they're trading this and that. In other words, they've made the economy out of their desire to live together and their desire to interchange. And so the economy is expanding because of the ideas that you have. Everything that you've lived, every day of your life, has put a fortune into vibrational escrow, and there is no shortage of money there. There is as much money as you can teach yourself to expect that is there. So then, when you look around the world and you find a pocket of not enough money, maybe in a friend who's complaining, or maybe in a part of the world, someplace that does not have enough money, and you focus upon that and you feel that discomfort, that guilt, you might say, or that blame, you might say, because some people have money, maybe even you, and other people don't. That discord is because you are looking at something that your inner being will never look at, because your inner being is looking at all of the culmination of all of the resources that all of the people who have lived in poverty have put into their vibrational escrows. In other words, those countries that are starving want food, and their inner beings and source are concentrating on the food. They're not looking back at the poverty. Are you getting this? In other words, the source has given its undivided attention to the expanded version of life for all of you. And when you don't feel good. Don't blame it on them being jealous of you. You're not lining up with who you have become, and you've got to if you are ever to feel good again. Good time for a segment of refreshment.
Thank you very much.
We are complete. The art of allowing is finding some way to get moving in the direction of who I have become. And what we've noticed, and we so want you to catch the feeling of this, when something's happened and you're pointed upstream, and you finally decide to just let go of it. And so you just drop the oars, so to speak, and the current turns you. In the moment of that turning, even though your manifestation is way over there and you're still way over here, in the moment of that turning, you feel enormous relief. And think about why. Think about the difference between paddling upstream and just not doing that. Enormous relief. We would like you to leave this gathering today with a new attitude about emotions. And we would like you, at least for a while, we promise you it will serve you very well, to say to yourself, there really is only one emotion that I'm interested in, and that is the emotion of relief. No matter where you are along this emotional scale, if you're just reaching for a thought that feels a little better than where you are, you'll let go of the oars and you'll turn a little. We are eager to talk with you about anything that you want to talk about. Nothing is off limits. It will be a wonderful unfolding. This gathering actually happened before you dragged your physical bodies here. Don't worry if we don't call on you right away or ever, because we can feel what you want, and we will invite best possibility of you hearing your answer to the chair. And it might be you and it might be somebody else.